Today, we're digging into a comment made by North Dakota Agricultural Commissioner Doug Goehring. He claims that the MAHA Commission, the MAHA movement, is attacking his North Dakota farmers. Is this really true, or is there something else to it?
One thing I want you to remember is North Dakota is a top producer of canola and sunflower oils and is a major producer of soybean oil. So maybe that has something to do with it.
It might be a little personal.
Welcome to the Dust or Mud podcast. I'm Rich.
And I'm Shelley. After Rich being in the Air Force for 25 years, we started a first-generation regenerative farm here in southwest Missouri. Though today we're going to talk about some farming going on north of us in North Dakota. But I think that the overall problem that we have going on in agriculture across the board, there's a lot of things happening out there. It applies to us nationwide. So even though we're here in Missouri, what's happening in North Dakota is very important to what's going on in agriculture.
Well, North Dakota certainly isn't the only state that's producing the things that are being villainized or demonized in the commissioner's opinion by the MAHA Commission.
Right. And so what we want to do is just kind of break down what he said, maybe what he means, and what's really going on. What does the MAHA Commission really say, and what were the strategies that they came up with after that, and does it really attack our farmers?
So we're going to reference an article from the North Dakota Monitor. I'll leave a link to that article in the description. So what Goehring told his state lawmakers was that farmers are facing low prices, high debt, and tariffs.
True, all true things. It's bad.
And on top of that, the MAHA movement is attacking seed oils.
Okay, there have been things said about seed oils in the MAHA movement. But did the MAHA Commission like policy? Has anything changed in policy that would affect his farmers?
So there was some discussion in the MAHA report that was published earlier this year, and it did say some stuff about seed oils. And the report was the background information that was going to drive the MAHA Strategy, which was recently released this month, in fact, in September of 2025.
Okay.
So we want to look at a few of the additional things that Goehring said, and then we'll look at what the MAHA, the strategy, like what are we doing moving forward? We'll look at what that says.
Okay.
So he frames the MAHA movement in and of itself as a direct attack on North Dakota's sunflower and canola industries. And he frames it as a loss of freedom and a government dictate as to what foods are available or what foods can be chosen. So he talked about reducing choice, and he talked about we've been, throughout our history, our nation has been able to choose what foods we eat, and the MAHA movement is going to take away free choice from the nation. And I don't know. What he says, the quote is, "You can't trust them anymore. Now, all of a sudden, we have people who want to dictate and pull that freedom away. They've now turned their attention to attack seed oils."
Okay.
So, I pulled up the strategy. It's published. It's online, and I'm like, all right, this doesn't sound like what I remember. I remember just perusing it, but I didn't sit down and actually read it. So I pulled it up and read it, and I'm like, where is this removal of freedom that he's talking about? Where's the dictate that he's talking about? Where is the you cannot that he seems to be bringing up?
It wasn't there. There have been no bans on seed oils. There have been no dictates on what people can eat. Really, I mean, they addressed They have addressed a few things,
And I think,
but that was dyes.
yeah, but I think if he said seed oils are under fire, like
Okay,
if he used a word
sure.
like that, I think you'd be like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, but he didn't. There's some differences in the entirety of the two. But put Kennedy and Goehring in the same room, and their missions are entirely different because you didn't hear him discuss health or wellness. He's talking about markets and economy, or markets and freedom. And who's freedom, right? Who's freedom? Because if we're talking about the MAHA Commission, what is their main aim?
Make America healthy again.
Who primarily are we discussing? Children whose, I believe the last thing that I read was 60% of their diet is made up of ultra-processed foods.
Yeah,
Now,
that's
we got a problem.
That's actually in the strategy. That part
Okay.
is in the strategy.
But we do have a problem as a nation, though. We have yet to define what is an ultra-processed food.
That's in the strategy too.
So let's define that first. But the difference between the Ag Commissioner in North Dakota and the HHS Secretary Kennedy, their missions are wholly different, right?
Yep.
Completely, because the Ag Commissioner's job is to make sure that his farmers are cared for and his farmers are successful and their state is successful in agriculture.
I'll overstate this, but I would say if he were defending them growing cocaine, you could make that same argument.
Oh. Mm.
Because it's highly profitable. And if all you're caring about is the bottom line profits, farmers, money, then there are lots of crops that we could throw out there to discuss that aren't necessarily healthy.
You make a good point.
We could say the same thing about tobacco or about marijuana or, right? Like there are a lot of things that we could throw out there and say
that you have to farm.
You have to farm this. And bottom,
Okay.
I'm concerned about my farmers' bottom lines. So I think that while I can't argue with you, that is that's his focus. That's where he's at. And that's not what's being grown in his state. What's being grown is seed oils, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there was a time when, my Dr. Smokes Camel is on the commercial, right?
Yeah.
And so as this whole thing was going down, as we were saying that tobacco isn't actually healthy for you,
Mm-hmm.
the tobacco growing states' agricultural commissioners would be saying, the government is attacking my state.
And they were.
And they were, but the MAHA Commission isn't actually attacking his state.
Right, right.
Right? So
Yeah.
you're absolutely correct. It is his job. But I think that we should look a little bit deeper into the MAHA, what they're actually saying, and then see if we can't come to some sort of is there a common ground? Is there a place where we can meet?
Yeah.
Is there something else
Mm-hmm.
that he could focus on maybe instead of saying that the government is banning the products that are being made in his state?
So what are some of the other things that the MAHA report is going to address? Chemical exposure, like we want to reduce that. And this isn't just about the MAHA commission or the strategy. It's just we need to point out at least what it was talking about in reference to his comment.
Yeah.
Right? Supporting details, if you will.
Yeah. So here's what the strategy is talking about. You talked about chemical exposure,
Mm-hmm.
lack of activity, chronic stress, over medicalization, some food policy elements that were actually in the strategy. Make a definition of ultra processed foods.
Great start.
Yeah. The quote is USDA, HHS, and FDA will continue efforts to develop a U.S. government-wide definition for ultra-processed food. So at least we can have a basis for the conversation.
Sure.
Right now, it means something different to other people, or something different to everybody.
Mhm.
And there are sort of commonly agreed definitions, but none of them are like government sanctioned. Here's the
Right.
definition.
Reform the GRAS loophole, GRAS, which stands for Generally Recognized as Safe. That is an acronym that is used widely in the FDA, USDA vernacular. Basically, they're going to increase the transparency of the additives that the companies are putting into our food.
So these are all chemicals that are not food per se, but the companies have self-identified that these ingredients that we've added to the food are generally recognized as safe, in that we say they're not going to cause harm, we the company.
Like, who does that though? Like, it's good, I promise.
Yeah, but there's
Like,
I forget, we've
that's
got over 10,000 things on this list.
isn't that like the definition of a snake oil salesman, Like, trust me, it's going to heal it, because I said so.
Yeah.
No,
Another thing that the
the EU doesn't allow that, by the way. Like, the EU does not allow, like, they have their own, like,
list.
It's
Yeah.
very short on what's allowed as far as the preservatives, additive chemicals that can go into food. And you're not allowed to self-test, I don't believe. I think they have to submit theirs to
Fairly
higher
rigorous
authorities.
testing, and that's why allulose is still not approved over there as a food additive.
Okay.
So we've been having allulose here for a while. We've done multiple podcasts on and cookings and recipes,
Yeah.
and done lots of things with allulose, but our European friends don't have that available to them yet because it hasn't gone through all of their testing.
Okay.
So you're right. Improve nutrition labeling and move it to the front of the pack.
And simplify it and make it make sense and tell us what we really want to know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Truly.
That's in the strategy.
Okay.
USDA to pivot programs like SNAP and school lunches toward whole, minimally processed foods. The quote is, real food first, prioritize whole, minimally processed foods over packaged, highly processed alternatives.
Right. Yes. Everyone should agree on this. We should all agree that whole foods better than packaged foods. It seems like both sides of the aisle, me, my Gen X self with the young crunchy mom, that is like very into wellness and all of these things. We should agree that whole food is better than packaged food.
I don't think we're there, babe.
Man, we should be though.
I don't think we are, because you look at that container of Honey Nut Cheerios, and it's got a picture of a heart on it, and it's got the American Heart Association says that
and
this
a
is
bee, for crying out loud.
good for you.
They come from nature.
And like, you look at all of the health food that's in the middle of the grocery store aisles.
Yeah.
That is all highly processed, ultra processed. If we had a definition, we could talk about it. But it's all processed foods, and it's all being
labeled and marketed
as healthy. So while I obviously agree with you that whole food is better and more healthy, I don't know that the marketing is there. We've had, like, eggs are good, then eggs are bad, now eggs are good. Milk is good, whole milk is bad, now whole milk is good again. Butter is good, butter is bad, butter is good again.
Right.
Like the things that you're thinking of in your mind as, whole foods, like there's more food poisoning that comes from salad than there is from beef or pork or, salad is certainly good for you, but it's in the news as being, recalls and food poisoning, and you don't hear of Cheerios being recalled for food poisoning, as and it's
Yeah.
like, so I think there's just so many conflicting messages out there right now that
Because of the food industry marketing it
yeah,
very well.
yeah. But I don't know that it's as open and closed of a case that Whole
Whole food
Food.
versus packaged food.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it should be. I'm
yeah,
not
no, I get
arguing that
it.
it
Yeah, I get
shouldn't
it.
be, but I don't know if we're exactly there.
Another thing that in the MAHA strategies was to support farmers, right? Through precision agriculture, organic certification streamlining. That would be amazing. I don't know. Let's cut some of it and get people to a better solution in the organic department.
Yeah.
Local processing so that people can have their food processed at a smaller scale. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, that's things like the Prime Act, which really
Would be
opens
amazing.
up the door to
Yeah.
local processing.
Farm to school programs and
Yeah.
grants.
And grants.
Yeah. Like where you could have farmers in your local area. And I get it. There are a myriad of struggles around that. But can we try?
What happens is the schools actually get the grants, and then they contract with local farmers, and then the school meals, are then provided by local farmers.
And we would have to hire human beings to go in there and actually cook that food, right? Rather than it showing up on a Taco Bell truck. Now this really does happen.
Yeah.
Where it has been contracted out. Those contracts, that money, that school lunch money comes from the government and it goes to somebody. And right now it's going to places like Chick-fil-A, Taco Bell, like corporations who haul in fast food into a lot of the schools. Not every single school, but a lot of the schools. And so someone's getting that contract.
Yeah.
Why not farmers, real food, hire people who know how to cook it and feed our kids better?
That's the idea.
I think it's great. And
then
maybe it would help some of the North Dakota farmers.
Last one we'll talk about is soil health incentives.
Yeah.
And we've done lots and lots of podcasts on the importance of soil health. And the last one we talked about was how what's going on in the soil makes it all the way into the meat of the animal, and then all the way into the human that is consuming that beef in this case.
Right.
And so the focusing on soil health, we believe, is a great thing as well. So
the MAHA group, commission, strategies are really trying to align initiatives, increase transparency for the consumer on the other end. They're not trying to ban canola or ban. Canola is actually rapeseed, in case you were wondering. They're not trying to ban soy products that I've seen.
The strategy doesn't even mention the seeds, the seed oils, nothing like that.
Okay.
It's not mentioned in this. And the strategy is what you need to look at, right? Like we've talked also about the food pyramid and the food guidelines.
Yeah.
Well, they produce this huge report, and then from that report, they then boil that down to here's the government's food guidelines, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they produced a report earlier in the year, and that boils down to here's the strategy. Here's what we're going to do moving forward. And whatever was in the report, okay, that's informing the strategy, but the strategy does not say we're setting out to ban, seed oils. It says we're setting out to define what is ultra-processed foods.
So where's the mandate then?
It's not there. It's not in the strategy.
Okay. So what was he saying? He's frustrated.
Okay.
Right?
Yep. So
his farmers are frustrated.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
But
his farmers are definitely frustrated because, well,
for all the reasons.
Yeah.
And so do you just start lashing out? Or is there something more to it? Like with the ultra processed foods, I mean, a lot of these seed oils go into ultra processed foods.
Yeah.
That is a large majority of what's in ultra processed foods is seed oil. I mean, look at it. I mean, on everything, it's like one of the first three ingredients primarily on everything. You either have soybean oil, rapeseed oil, cottonseed oil, canola oil, whatever.
Oil.
There's going to be a seed oil in nearly every processed food.
Yeah.
So while the MAHA Commission might not be attacking specifically the oils, what is happening is they are really concerned about the 60% of children's diets being ultra processed foods, which a primary ingredient is something that North Dakota grows. And so they're not attacking necessarily oil, and yet I know they have said things about it, but there's so much of it that goes into ultra processed food. And his concern is about his farmer's bottom line and not the health of our kids.
So he's saying one of two things.
What?
He's saying either ultra processed foods are good, they're healthy, we should continue doing this because that's where my farmers are sending their seed oils to ultra processed foods. So he's either saying they're healthy or at least not unhealthy, or he's saying it doesn't matter the health ramifications of ultra processed foods, the farmer's bottom line is more important. So like it's one of the two. If he's saying that the report is attacking his farmers, what the report is saying is we need to define ultra processed foods and start moving our government programs to whole foods away from the ultra processed foods. So if he's saying that I'm sorry, the strategy, not the report, the strategy. Right. If he's saying that the MAHA strategy is attacking his farmers, then either he's saying ultra-processed foods are good and we need to keep making them, or he's saying it doesn't matter whether ultra-processed foods are making us sick or not. The farmer's bottom line is where we need to be focusing.
And I don't think he's saying that the health of children doesn't matter. Like, I don't think that's what he's saying. But whenever you're in the middle of a stressful kind of farming crisis situation, he's looking for something to blame because it's all falling apart in his state. And there are a lot of factors, but I don't think that he's saying, I hope he's not saying the health of the kids doesn't matter, my farmer's bottom line. And we need to help them, like through some sort of farm programs, some subsidies of some sort, help them over this crisis situation that they're in, maybe. But I don't think just throwing money at the problem and say just start writing checks is the answer. But I do think that perhaps help in a transition period, like we as a nation need to come away from all of the row crops and seed oil, what you're growing in North Dakota, we need to, I think that there needs to be a transition. Personally, that's just my personal opinion, that there needs to be a transition away from all of these seeds, because people will be like, well, if the farmers don't grow that, what are we going to eat? Like
beef,
pork,
chicken,
protein, real vegetables, something that doesn't have to be ultra processed in order to be able to even consume it. Because to me, my understanding of the processing that a rapeseed has to go through in order to express the oil out and make it to where it's even edible is ultra processing.
Yeah.
Some serious processing.
Yeah. What he's done is he's taken the argument and he's taken it away from health, which is, he's vilifying the Make America Healthy Again movement. But in the argument about it, he's not talking about health. He's talking about freedom of choice and economics.
Well, I think that transparency that the MAHA Commission and report is offering to consumers is the ultimate freedom. Seriously. If you have a choice to know exactly what's in your food, exactly what they put in it and did to it, and you can decide, yes, I want that, or no, I do not want that, that's the ultimate freedom right there.
Yeah. Move the label to the front. That's great freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean,
you do have a choice. You know what? Here's another thing. I'm just going to stand on my soapbox. You can grow whatever you want. There's 160 acres right outside the store, and we can choose to grow whatever we want on it.
Yep.
Now, just because I decide to grow, some, let's say some exotic thing that nobody wants to buy because Americans don't eat it much, it's not going to sell because nobody wants it.
Yeah.
So if the market changes, you have to adjust as a producer.
Yes.
We don't sell as much lamb as we sell ground beef.
That's true.
Don't grow as much lamb as you grow ground beef.
Right. You mean you don't grow all of the lamb your land will possibly grow and then demand someone subsidize your lamb production?
I do not.
Why?
Freedom of choice. Because, first of all, they don't subsidize lamb that I know of. And second of all, it's up to the farmer to be able to make decisions about the crops that they want to grow, whether that's lamb or beef or sunflowers or whatever it is that you've decided to produce on your property that you own or rent.
Where these guys, like the other side of that coin and what the guys talk about, I was listening to a guy and he was saying that he did decide to grow a different crop this year, and his $1 million combine, the front part of it doesn't work with that crop. So like there's so much
specificity. There's so much. It's so specific.
And you have so much investment in it to grow that one
crop. That's a whole, and that's a big conversation.
That one crop at that scale, right? You've leveraged everything to get there, and now all of a sudden the market is, the rug's pulled out from underneath you. The market's not there, and those farmers say, I can't just pivot. I can't just shift. I have all of this equipment, and all of this equipment does this one thing.
I do think he was just throwing darts, though, because, nothing has really happened based on the MAHA Commission or report to do with even ultra-processed foods. Nothing has really happened. What has happened is the grain market is down.
Yes.
Like significantly down. Farmers across the country have taken out massive loans, millions and millions and millions of dollars, and they're banking on making, let's say, for instance, $10 a bushel or whatever for soybeans. And they're only going to get, and that's a break even, and they're only going to get 8. Now, these are real round numbers, but the point is they're going to lose money. Soybeans, corn,
Man,
all of it.
I haven't seen one that's saying that they're going to have a bumper crop year from a
financial perspective.
Profit
perspective.
They
grew a lot.
They're having a
Their yields
crop.
are phenomenal. They have a whole bunch, and they're not being able to sell it, either A, because we're in a trade war, or B, because they grew a lot and it's not going for the price that they need to pay their bills, because fertilizer and seed and equipment and everything costs so much to grow this now. And whenever you have everything leveraged against it, and you've borrowed hundreds of thousands of dollars to grow this corn or soybean, and now you're going to lose money?
Yeah.
People are in a world of hurt. But I think, and he did mention all of those things, but I think that saying, oh, and the MAHA is attacking seed oils. No, that is not your problem.
No.
I'm sorry.
No.
That is not your problem. You have big problems. Yes. But the MAHA saying,
let's define ultra-processed foods.
yeah, let's do that.
That's not the problem.
No. That's not the problem. The problem is a whole laundry list of other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, the bottom line of this, from our read of the MAHA strategy, it's certainly not attacking North Dakota farmers. It's certainly not attacking even the seed oils that North Dakota farmers are growing. It's trying to focus a conversation on health and coming up with a strategy to get us, like, we got to figure out why we have the sickest nation on the earth. Like, let's start there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, is there anything at all we can do about it? And they're saying, I don't know, let's look at the chemicals that we're putting in foods and on our foods.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at the labels that we put on foods so that people can have the freedom to choose what based on what's actually in the foods.
Yeah.
Let's define ultra-processed foods. If we're all saying that it's bad, from a MAHA perspective, let's actually give it a definition.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Then we can all talk about it and look at it.
And it may be the case that the agriculture industry in the United States of America needs to make some significant changes.
Yeah, maybe.
And I support helping those commodity farmers transition to something else. We need food. Our country has to eat. People don't grow food. We need that for sure. We can help that transition happen. The first thing that we have to do is come up with a definition of what we've been putting together and calling food. And then after we do that, we need to talk about where do we want to go from here?
Support to farmers, precision ag, organic certification,
Exactly.
streamline, local processing, farm to school grants, soil health initiatives. Like they're listing out things saying, here are ways that we can help farmers. And soil health, that's huge,
Mm-hmm.
right? That covers a lot of things. It can be, we need cover crops. That vastly improves soil health,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, there are things that they're saying in the strategy that will be helpful to farmers if the strategy is implemented.
Mm-hmm.
So here's where I think we land on this. The commissioner says that the MAHA strategy is attacking his farmers, his state, his seed oils. And I would say, no, I disagree with him. I don't think that that's true. It's not banning seed oils. It's not taking away food choices. It's not dictating to anyone what they can and cannot eat. I think that the MAHA strategy is trying to focus on health.
Mm-hmm. So what are your thoughts? Leave them in the comments below. Should we be more focused on the health or the farm policies and the markets?
Can't we all just get along? Can't we be focused on both?
I think there are ways to do that. Getting along might be a different story these days.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's just so much friction in the world. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. What we're trying to, how can we have a conversation? Can we have a conversation about, look, North Dakota is a MAHA state by all regards, right?
Yeah.
And he's coming out saying, yeah, don't be talking about my products like that. Is pretty much what he's saying. Like, y'all are fixing to put me out of business. Right. Sometimes that happens in the world.
Man, you're doing really good seeing the bright side of this.
Am I?
I commend you.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I think you're doing awesome.
I think we can try to come together.
Yeah. See, the way I was looking at this, I'm like, this guy's defending ultra processed foods against the health of kids. Like, you can't choose ultra processed foods over kid health.
He would never say that. I guarantee he's a dad and a grandpa, and he wouldn't say that.
But that's what
He
he
wasn't
said.
thinking. He wasn't thinking.
Maybe.
You know, sometimes people say words and they're not thinking about what they're really saying. And he would look at you and say, of course, I would never say that about children. I was talking about my farmers. But here's the thing. What your farmers are farming is feeding the kids.
Right.
You're not putting one and one together, you know.
That's what I'm saying.
What farmers are growing is what people are eating.
Yeah.
What do we want them eating? And we want them healthier and out of the hospitals and all of those sorts of things, you know, and off of their diabetes medications and whatnot.
Yeah.
So at any rate, it was an interesting article. It was an interesting perspective that he had. And, you know, I just think more conversations like this are necessary as the nation goes forward in trying to figure out our dadgum situation.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us today.
Until next time, bye, y'all.
Bye.